With a limited number of days on your vacation and so many things to see and do in Ireland, it's important to narrow down your choices. But does the Rock of Cashel really earn its space on your itinerary? Let's take a look and see.
This week, we're in County Tipperary, visiting the Rock of Cashel, which some consider to be the crown jewel in Ireland's ancient East. You'll learn about the myth of its creation, its past as a seat of the Kings of Munster, and its history as a religious capital for centuries. We'll take a look at the buildings, graveyard, and stunning scenery, and we'll also look over magical Hore Abbey. Then we'll weigh in on whether the Rock of Cashel is worth your precious vacation time.
If you've seen some of our videos before, like the one for Giant's Causeway and the Glen of Horseshoe, you'll know that the Irish have a lot of myths surrounding their locations. Well, this one is no exception. Supposedly, St. Patrick was having a battle with the devil in the Slieve Bloom Mountains, and the devil got so angry that he took a bite out of the mountain, which is now called the Devil's Bit. Well, when he spat the piece of rock out, it landed 20 miles away and created the Rock of Cashel.
That's amazing.
I think so too. The Rock of Cashel is much less a rock than a high plateau that's walled with stone. And it was a great location to have your seat of government or a religious order. There was already a well there. It's elevated, so it was very defensible, and it overlooks the beautiful Golden Vale, a fertile plain in County Tipperary.
It is beautiful.
It is stunning. Also known as St. Patrick's Rock, St. Patrick supposedly converted King Aengus to Christianity in the 5th century. In 977, Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland, was crowned here and made it his capital. Now, it had been the seat of the Kings of Munster in that area from the 4th century to 1101, when that King of Munster deeded the property to the church. It also contains one of the finest collections of medieval architecture and Celtic art in all of Europe.
Most of the buildings there today date back to 1100 to 1300, with the round tower there being the oldest. Also on the property overlooking the picturesque town of Cashel are a Gothic cathedral, Cormac's chapel, the Hall of Vicars Choral, high crosses, a graveyard, and a 15th century tower house.
Cormac's chapel has limited access since it's made from sandstone and has suffered more from the environment than some of the other buildings. It's available for viewing by group tours, which you can only book on site. So if you're interested in that, you want to let them know as soon as you arrive. We were unable to see the chapel that morning due to timing. It does, however, contain the only remaining Romanesque frescoes in Ireland, and a sarcophagus with what are believed to be Viking symbols. The Hall of Vicars Choral dates from the 15th century. It was restored in 1975 to show what the area looked like that the choral chanters would have lived in. It's also kind of used as a little bit of a visitor center there. There is an audiovisual program there that tells about the Rock of Cashel and the history. We would recommend that you start there by viewing the video.
That was very worthwhile.
It was, and it was very helpful. We wished we had seen it earlier, actually, in the tour.
Right. In the building itself, you'll see carvings, you'll see how the building was constructed with pegs. It's pretty cool to walk in and look around. I believe this is all original art that was renovated, so it's well worth the time to go in and look around.
You can almost see the people working there, and there is quite a rumor that it's haunted, and there have been ghost sightings in that building. We didn't see any ghosts.
Once again, we didn't see any ghosts.
That's
okay.
We never see ghosts anywhere we go. The 15th century cathedral is built in a cruciform shape. Now, this is without a roof. It is very beautiful. You can see the carvings in it. We were very fortunate that we had a beautiful sunny day. It was pretty breezy, but it was very sunny. The sky was blue, and to look through the roof of it and see the sky and the sun, I couldn't resist the opportunity to shoot through the roof on a time lapse to see the clouds going by, although I did get some strange looks when they saw me lying on my back shooting upward.
People thought I was petting her back, but I was brushing off stone and things like that.
Yeah, when I got up, yes, because I did have quite a bit of gravel on me. Now, the property also overlooks Hore Abbey, which is a 13th century Cistercian monastery. I wish we had had more time to see Hore Abbey. We did not go down to there. We were on the back property that overlooked Hore Abbey, but you can just go through there and wander through at will. There was no one down there, we could tell. And we had to take a path down the hill and climb over a stile. We met a woman and her dog.
Anne and Maisie.
And I think Maisie would have gone home with Chris, actually.
Maybe.
She was very fond of him.
And would not have allowed that.
No, I'm sure not. But she was very friendly. Both of them were very friendly. And it made a nice conversation. She walks there and hikes there quite often. The property connects with Declan's Way, which is an old trail that pilgrims used to take.
Goes for miles, doesn't it?
Over 100 miles, I think. So some things you might want to know. The entrance fees are currently €8 for adults, 6 for seniors, or a family of 10 for €20. We did hear that periodically the town of Cashel below does run specials where if you spend a certain dollar amount, and I think at the time I read about it, it was $15 in certain stores or restaurants, then you got free entry to the Rock of Cashel. So you might want to consider that. Also, I believe the tour of Cormac's chapel is an additional €3.
I think that's right.
There is parking. It says it's on site, but it's actually across the street, and it is privately owned. And it's almost €5. However, you can park in town and walk. It's about a 5 to 10 minute walk. Now, I will tell you that the walk, even just from the parking lot up to the main gate of Cashel, actually is uphill. So if you are disabled or you have some issues walking a distance on hills, you might want to call ahead and they will make arrangements for you to park closer, is my understanding. Be sure that you wear good shoes because the ground is uneven there, and especially if you want to go down that back hill and cross the stile, the meadow, and end up at Hore Abbey. You want to be sure you have good trail shoes or hiking shoes on for the trip. Also, Cormac's Chapel can sometimes close either in the off-season due to conservation projects or due to weather, staffing, things like that. So you want to be sure and check the website ahead of time before you get there, and then as soon as you get there, ask about if they're doing the tours, what the timing is for the tours, and so forth. Because it would have been interesting to see that, but like I said, the timing just did not work for us. They had already left a tour, and we were not going to be there again during that time, enabled to see all of that we wanted to see. We spent probably an hour and a half there,
at least,
from the time we parked, and that was without going down into Hore Abbey to see it or without taking the tour of Cormac's Chapel. So we would recommend, if you go and you want to see all of that, allow 2 to 2.5 hours, I would say. Yeah. So Chris, what do you think about it? Was it worth our time and money to visit the Rock of Cashel?
I would say yes. We did have to give up another site that we wanted to go see, but we had to make a decision, and I think we made a great decision. The Rock of Cashel was beautiful. Might have been different on a stormy day, but it was gorgeous. It was very peaceful. And just like so many things in Ireland, you can just walk around and your imagination can run a little crazy. It is well worth going, yes.
I felt so too. It's not just a ruined castle. It was the seat of religion. It was the seat of the Kings of Munster. There's so much history there. And actually, we took a look at the cemetery, and some of the burials date back to 500. not the stones, but the burials. They actually have found stones dating back to 1100 that they could actually read the inscriptions on. But it is still an active cemetery. People can still be buried there. Now, there's a very limited number of people who can be buried there. In 1930, they opened registration for burial to residents of Cashel, and you had to be put on the registry. That can be passed down to a family member if it is not used by the person who was registered. However, you do have to be able to prove that your family was on that registry, and they do research it. I believe there was a gentleman just this past year from County Tipperary who was buried there, and it's quite an honor. They're buried with archbishops and kings, and that's, I think, something very unique, is that this is still an operational graveyard.
I find that amazing.
It is. So, in my opinion, you would really be missing out if you didn't stop and see the Rock of Cashel. There is much more to it than just a ruin. It's otherworldly. You can go in there and wander around. In the United States, there aren't many places of note, sites, where you can go in and just wander and not see anyone at times and have it to yourself, which is a really magical experience, I think. I would highly recommend that. You do want to go early in the day or toward the end of the day so that you don't hit when the tour buses are there, because you can take a day trip from Dublin or Cork. There is public transit that you can take from either Dublin or Cork by bus Éireann. However, it will drop you in the center of town, so then you will have to walk out to the rock. But we would highly recommend that you take a look at the Rock of Cashel. Well worth your time on vacation.
Absolutely.
And if you would like to see some more on the mystical places in Ireland, take a look at one of these two videos. And we will see you next time.
See you then.
Bye.